Jaguar XF. The Jaguar XF is one of those remarkable cars that bridges the gap between the world of luxury sedans and the soul of a sports car, offering something distinctive that only Jaguar as a brand has been able to perfect throughout its history. When we talk about the Jaguar XF, we are not just discussing a premium executive car, we are diving deep into the philosophy of a company that has always chased beauty, elegance, and performance in a way that stirs emotions. The XF embodies that philosophy, carrying forward Jaguar's long-standing tradition of creating cars that do more than just transport people from one place to another. They create experiences, they ignite passions, and they leave lasting impressions. The XF, since its introduction, has stood as a symbol of modern British luxury blended with the thrill of dynamic performance, a car that makes a statement on the road without needing to shout too loudly. To truly understand the Jaguar XF, we need to trace its story back to the time when Jaguar realized it had to evolve its lineup and capture the attention of a new generation of customers. The XF made its debut in 2007 as a replacement for the Jaguar S-Type, which had been Jaguar's midsize luxury sedan since the late 1990s. The S-Type carried a more traditional, retro-inspired design, which appealed to certain buyers, but by the mid-2000s the luxury car market was shifting rapidly. BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Audi were dominating the segment with cars that combined modern design, cutting-edge technology, and dynamic handling. Jaguar knew it needed to reinvent itself to compete seriously in this market. The XF was the answer to that call. It was the car that redefined what Jaguar could be in the 21st century, taking bold steps in design and innovation that set the stage for the brand's future. When Jaguar unveiled the XF, it was a dramatic departure from anything the company had produced in recent decades. The retro styling of the S-Type gave way to a sleek, contemporary design penned by Ian Callum, Jaguar's design director at the time. Callum's vision was clear. Jaguar could no longer look to the past for inspiration, it had to look forward. The XF featured a coupe-like silhouette, a low stance, and smooth flowing lines that gave it a sense of motion even when standing still. It was a car that looked like it belonged in the future, a statement of intent from a brand that was ready to take on the Germans head-on. The impact of the XF's design was immediate, earning widespread praise from critics and customers alike. For many, it was the car that reignited interest in Jaguar as a brand, showing that the company was capable of not just surviving in a highly competitive market, but thriving. Inside, the Jaguar XF carried that same philosophy of blending modern luxury with bold innovation. The cabin was a revelation at the time, introducing features that gave the XF a sense of theater and occasion every time you entered it. One of the most memorable aspects was the way the car came to life when you started it. The rotary gear selector, which lay flush with the center console, would rise into your palm as the engine roared to life, while the air vents would rotate open, almost as if the car was breathing. These touches created an emotional connection with the driver, transforming a routine task into something special. The XF was about more than just leather and wood trim, it was about crafting an experience that felt unique to Jaguar. The materials used inside were carefully selected, blending traditional luxury with modern minimalism. Soft leather, aluminum accents, and contemporary design elements created a cabin that was both inviting and forward-looking. Performance has always been at the heart of Jaguar's DNA, and the XF was no exception. From the beginning, it was engineered to deliver a driving experience that set it apart from its rivals. The chassis was finely tuned to strike a balance between comfort and agility, allowing the XF to glide effortlessly on highways while also feeling sharp and engaging on twisty roads. Jaguar offered a range of engines, from efficient 4-cylinder units to powerful version 6S and even version 8s in the high-performance XFR variant. The XFR in particular was a beast, equipped with a supercharged 5.0-liter V8 producing over 500 horsepower, turning the refined executive sedan into a serious performance machine. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 4 seconds, putting it in the same league as BM's M5 and Mercedes-AMG's E63, yet it did so with its own uniquely British character. Over the years, the XF evolved through multiple updates and generations, each time improving on the formula while staying true to the core values that made it special. In 2015, Jaguar introduced the second-generation XF, which further refined the design, improved efficiency, and added the latest in modern technology. Built on Jaguar's new lightweight aluminum architecture, the second-generation XF shed significant weight compared to its predecessor, enhancing both performance and fuel efficiency. The exterior design became even sleeker, with sharper lines and a more confident stance, while the interior received upgrades in materials, infotainment, and driver assistance features. Jaguar's In-Control Touch Pro system brought advanced connectivity and navigation features, ensuring that the XF remained competitive in the rapidly evolving luxury car market. What set the XF apart from many of its rivals was the way it managed to blend elegance with athleticism. It was not a car that tried to be the stiffest or the sportiest, nor was it solely focused on being the most luxurious. Instead, it struck a perfect balance between these qualities. Driving an XF felt special not only because of its performance but because of the way it engaged all your senses. The steering was precise and communicative, giving you confidence in every corner. The suspension soaked up imperfections in the road while still keeping the car composed and agile. The engines delivered smooth, effortless power, and the sound of a Jaguar engine, especially in the V6 and V8 models, was something that stirred the soul. Few cars in the segment could match the sense of occasion that came with driving an XF. Of course, the XF was not just about the driver. Passengers were treated to a spacious and comfortable cabin, with plenty of legroom and headroom, especially in the long wheelbase versions offered in certain markets like China. The rear seats were designed for comfort, making the XF a true executive sedan that could cater to both those who preferred to drive and those who preferred to be driven. The refinement inside the cabin was top-notch, with excellent sound insulation and attention to detail that ensured every journey felt serene. Whether used as a daily commuter, a long-distance cruiser, or even a spirited weekend drive, the XF adapted effortlessly to every role. As the automotive industry moved toward electrification and advanced driver assistance, Jaguar ensured that the XF stayed relevant. Mild hybrid technology was introduced in some models to improve efficiency, while the brand also pushed forward with its electrification strategy through models like the Jaguar I-Pace. Though the XF itself has not yet fully transitioned into an electric-only model, it represents Jaguar's ability to evolve with the times while still maintaining its identity. The future of Jaguar is focused on becoming an all-electric luxury brand by 2025, and while the XF as we know it may transform dramatically in the years to come, its legacy as a car that redefined Jaguar will remain intact. What makes the Jaguar XF truly stand out is its character. In a world where many luxury sedans can feel clinical or overly focused on technology, the XF has always offered something more human. It has a warmth and a soul that connects with drivers on an emotional level. You can admire its beauty when it's parked, enjoy its comfort and refinement when cruising, and unleash its performance when the road opens up. It's a car that refuses to be just another option in the segment. It's a car with a story, a heritage, and a personality. Jaguar has long been associated with the phrase, grace, space, pace, and the XF embodies that perfectly. Grace in its design, space in its practicality, and pace in its performance. It's a car that demonstrates Jaguar's mastery of combining these elements into a package that feels cohesive and desirable. The XF may not sell in the same numbers as its German rivals, but for those who choose it, the appeal lies precisely in its uniqueness. It's a choice for individuals who want something different, something that stands out from the crowd without being ostentatious. The XF is for those who appreciate artistry in automotive design and who value the intangible qualities that make driving an experience rather than a task. As we reflect on the Jaguar XF, we see not just a luxury sedan, but a turning point in Jaguar's history. It marked the moment when the company stepped boldly into the modern era, shedding old perceptions and proving that it could compete at the highest level. It carried the brand's design language forward, influenced future models like the XJ, the Z, and the F-Pace SUV, and played a vital role in shaping Jaguar's identity for the 21st century. Even today, the XF continues to embody that spirit, offering buyers a car that is elegant, dynamic, and unmistakably Jaguar. In the grand tapestry of Jaguar's history, the XF will always be remembered as the car that redefined what the brand could be. It was more than just a replacement for the S-Type. It was a rebirth, a symbol of reinvention, and a declaration that Jaguar's best days were not behind it, but ahead of it. The XF's story is one of courage, innovation, and passion, a story that resonates with anyone who believes that cars can be more than machines, that they can be works of art that move us both physically and emotionally. The Jaguar XF is not just a car you drive, it's a car you feel, and that is what makes it truly extraordinary. The Jaguar XF is more than just a luxury sedan, it is a declaration of what a car can be when engineering excellence meets artistic design. Since its introduction in 2007, the XF has stood as one of the most important vehicles in Jaguar's modern history, a car that helped redefine the brand and establish its place in the 21st century automotive landscape. To appreciate the XF fully, one must look not only at the car itself but also at the circumstances that brought it into existence, the vision of its creators, the passion that went into its design, and the impact it had on Jaguar as a whole. The XF is not simply a machine built to transport people, it is a living embodiment of Jaguar's philosophy of grace, space, pace, where elegance, practicality, and performance converge seamlessly. Thanks for watching. When the XF first emerged, it represented a bold breakaway from the past. Jaguar had built a reputation for creating some of the most beautiful cars in history, vehicles like the E-Type, the XK120, and the XJ saloons that set benchmarks for elegance and refinement. However, by the early 2000s, Jaguar was struggling with its identity. Its cars, while luxurious and comfortable, had become overly reliant on retro-inspired design themes. The S-Type, which the XF replaced, carried a design language heavily influenced by Jaguars of the 1960s, with its round headlights and curvaceous bodywork. While charming, it began to feel outdated in a market increasingly driven by modernity and innovation. Jaguar needed a revolution, not an evolution. The XF became that revolution. Ian Callum, the celebrated design director at Jaguar, played a monumental role in shaping the XF. His belief was that Jaguar had to move forward, to stop looking backward for inspiration and instead embrace contemporary design that reflected the spirit of the modern era. The XF became the canvas for this vision. From the moment it was unveiled, the car's coupe-like profile, taut surfaces, and bold stance told the world that Jaguar was no longer clinging to the past, it was writing a new chapter. This was not just another executive saloon, it was a statement of intent, a promise that Jaguar would compete with the likes of BM's 5 Series, Mercedes-Benz's E-Class, and Audi's A6 not by copying them, but by offering something distinctively British and emotionally engaging. The first-generation XF, codenamed X250, launched in 2007, and it was immediately hailed as one of the most significant Jaguars of the modern era. Its design alone set it apart. Unlike the boxier, more traditional sedans of the time, the XF embraced sleekness and fluidity. The roofline swept back like a coupe, the front end carried a bold grille flanked by sharp headlights, and the whole body seemed to sit low and athletic, conveying speed even at a standstill. It was not just pretty, it was purposeful. Jaguar wanted the XF to evoke the same emotions as its sports cars, and Callum succeeded brilliantly. Critics praised the XF for finally bringing Jaguar into the modern age, and buyers took notice too. Sales surged, and for many, the XF became their introduction to the Jaguar brand. But the XF was not just a design triumph, it was also a technological showcase. The cabin of the XF was unlike anything buyers in this segment had seen before. When you stepped inside, you were greeted not only by rich materials and craftsmanship but by a sense of theater that turned the mundane act of starting a car into an occasion. The most memorable feature was the rotary gear selector, which lay flush with the center console until the car was started. Then, as the engine fired up, the selector rose smoothly into your hand like a piece of modern sculpture. Simultaneously, the air vents, which appeared as solid aluminum slats, would rotate open to reveal their true function. These were not gimmicks, they were deliberate touches designed to make the XF feel alive, to create a bond between the driver and the car. It was a clever way of infusing emotion into engineering, a hallmark of Jaguar's approach. Beneath the stylish body and innovative interior lay a chassis tuned with the precision that Jaguar was known for. The XF was built to deliver a driving experience that balanced comfort with agility, allowing it to satisfy both executives who wanted refinement and enthusiasts who craved excitement. Jaguar offered a range of engines, from efficient 4-cylinder diesels for the European market to powerful petrol version 6S and version 8S for those who demanded performance. The XF was rear-wheel drive by nature, though later all-wheel drive models would expand its appeal in colder climates. Every version, however, shared one trait: a focus on driver engagement. The steering was precise, the suspension finely tuned, and the handling confident, giving the XF a personality that made it stand out in a segment often criticized for being too clinical. Among the variants, the XFR stood out as the ultimate expression of the XF's performance potential. Introduced in 2009, the XFR was powered by a supercharged 5.0-liter V8 engine producing over 500 horsepower, making it a true rival to the BMW M5 and Mercedes-AMG E63. With a 0 to 60 mph time of just 4.5 seconds, it transformed the refined executive saloon into a ferocious sports machine, all while retaining the luxury and elegance that defined the XF. Later, Jaguar would push the envelope even further with the XF-RS, which upped the power output to nearly 550 horsepower and introduced chassis enhancements, aerodynamic tweaks, and aggressive styling cues. The XF-RS proved that the XF was not just capable of competing with the best from Germany, but of doing so with a unique character, less clinical, more emotional, and unmistakably Jaguar. The success of the first-generation XF was not just measured in sales but also in how it reshaped Jaguar's image. Suddenly, Jaguar was no longer seen as a brand stuck in the past. The XF became the gateway to a new era of design and innovation, paving the way for models like the new XJ, the Z Compact Sedan, and even the F-Pace SUV. It marked a cultural shift within the company, one that embraced risk-taking and creativity. Jaguar's boldness paid off, as the XF won numerous awards and gained respect across the industry. It was no longer the underdog, it was a genuine contender. By 2011, Jaguar gave the XF a facelift to keep it fresh, and this update introduced a new design language that would become the template for future models. The round headlights of the early XF were replaced with sharper, more aggressive units, aligning the car more closely with the look of the flagship XJ. The facelift also brought improvements in efficiency, performance, and technology, ensuring that the XF remained competitive against ever-improving rivals. It was a sign of Jaguar's commitment to keeping the XF not just relevant, but desirable. The second-generation XF, codenamed X260, arrived in 2015, and once again Jaguar raised the bar. This time, the focus was on refinement, technology, and efficiency. Built on Jaguar's new lightweight aluminum architecture, the second-generation XF shed as much as 190 kilograms compared to its predecessor. This significant weight loss improved handling, performance, and fuel economy, reinforcing Jaguar's commitment to innovation. The exterior design was an evolution rather than a revolution, with cleaner lines, sharper details, and a more modern look that still carried the elegance and athleticism of the original. The interior, too, was upgraded with Jaguar's latest infotainment system, InControl Touch Pro, along with digital displays, premium materials, and improved ergonomics. The XF had grown more mature, more refined, but it had not lost its spark. The second-generation XF continued to offer a broad range of engines, including efficient diesels for Europe, turbocharged petrol units, and supercharged V6 options for those who wanted performance. All-wheel drive became a more prominent part of the lineup, catering to markets like North America where buyers demanded it. The XF also expanded into new territory with the introduction of the XF Sport Brake, a stylish wagon version that combined the XF's elegance with added practicality. The Sport Brake was particularly popular in Europe, where wagons remain a favored body style for families and executives alike. Jaguar also kept performance enthusiasts happy with the XFS, which featured a supercharged 3.0-liter V6 producing around 380 horsepower. The XFS was not as extreme as the earlier XFR or XFRS, but it still delivered thrilling performance with a 0 to 60 mph time of under 5 seconds and handling sharp enough to satisfy even spirited drivers. It served as a reminder that the XF's DNA was always rooted in performance, even as it grew more refined. Throughout its history, the XF has faced formidable competition from German rivals, but what always set it apart was its character. A BMW 5 Series might be more clinical in its precision, an Audi A6 might be more technologically advanced, and a Mercedes E-Class might be more traditional in its luxury, but the Jaguar XF offered something different. It offered a sense of occasion, a blend of beauty and emotion that could not be quantified in numbers or specs alone. Driving an XF felt special in a way that few cars in its class could replicate. It was not just about getting from A to B, it was about enjoying every moment of the journey. Great. The Jaguar XF's success cannot be measured solely in sales charts or awards, it must be seen through the lens of transformation.